Good to have you join us in this edition of Business Daily. Coming to you live from Seoul, I'm Lee Ji-yoon. We have plenty of fun business stories lined up for you this morning. The Korean wave is bringing with it a K-beauty boom, where Korea's cosmetics brands are targeting foreign customers to break into overseas markets. Mega supermarkets and high-end department stores are pulling out all the stops to get people to loosen their purse strings. The value of the world's stock market is on the rise, and it's no exception for Korea. According to figures from the Korea Exchange and Bloomberg, the Kospi's market capitalization is at the 11th largest, just ahead of India's index. It was valued at $1.3 trillion on Wednesday, a record high as the bourse crossed the 2,100 mark and extended its gain this week on the influx of foreign investment. In terms of growth, Korea came in fourth, recording a 13% upsurge from the end of last year, while the world's indices on average expanded by 8.8%. $300 million. That's how much Korea is planning to provide over the next 4 years to fund projects in developing countries led by the World Bank. Korea's Finance Minister Choi Kyung-hwan met with World Bank President Jim Yong-kim in Washington on Wednesday local time and signed a memorandum of understanding to provide funds for infrastructure, environment, and education projects in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The money will be channeled through Korea's Economic Development Cooperation Fund. Korea and the World Bank have collaborated on projects in the past, such as expanding power transmission networks in Tanzania. The Asia-Pacific region, excluding Japan, is positioned to be the hottest market for the Internet of Things, on track to expand to nearly $600 billion by the year 2020. That's according to market research firm IDC, which projected the number of devices or things connected to the internet will nearly triple by 2020 to 8.6 billion. While the largest market will most likely be China, the firm said the markets most mature to the tech trend will be Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. It's not unusual to see long lines in front of popular restaurants here in Korea, and many foodies don't mind going the extra mile to get their hands on popular dishes. But what if you could sit down for your food at your local supermarket? Here's our Lee Ji-young with more.
A lunchbox that feasts your appetite using 11 types of mixed grains. A traditional Korean dish with aged kimchi and this crispy chicken fried in a traditional hot pot. They're not the average selections you find at food courts in large supermarkets. Korea's big retail chains like Lotte Mart, E-Mart, and Home Plus are actively inviting in popular restaurants to their food courts to boost sales that lag elsewhere as consumers tighten their purse strings.
I read about this restaurant in a comic book and I've always wanted to try it out. But after knowing that the restaurant came to this supermarket, I decided to come immediately.
According to Statistics Korea, mega retailers have been struggling since October last year, with most places posting negative growth since. Figures rose slightly in February due to Lunar New Year sales, but soon plunged again last month. As a solution, these supermarkets have brought in some of the hottest restaurants and food vendors. Lotte Mart saw tripling sales at stores in the greater area of Seoul since last June. E-Mart also saw an average 15% boost in customer figures at branches over the past 8 months.
Our customers can come here to eat and also shop at the same time. I think it's a win-win game for both sides.
To latch onto this trend, Lotte Mart even recently unveiled a new premium food court to draw in more customers. Facing slow growth due to sluggish consumer spending, big retail chains are hoping to find new opportunities by satisfying the taste buds of their hungry customers. Lee Ji-young, Business Daily.
Now, local mega stores aren't the only ones trying to win back the hearts of customers. High-end department stores are also pulling out all the stops to offload their products in the midst of miserable first quarter sales. Our Eunice Kim is on the story for us this morning.
It's a Black Shopping Day, but Lotte Department Store says they've given up their profit margins. Kitchenware, blankets, even furniture once proudly displayed at posh department stores are now being snatched up by the quickest shopper at this warehouse sale. 100,000 shoppers are said to have made it out over the 3-day weekend event, attracted by deep discounts as high as 80%.
I just came to look, but the prices are so good, I ended up picking up a lot of products.
It's the first time the major department store chain has rented out of space outside of its facilities to offload suppliers' stock and make some headway in its slumping sales. Government data showed combined sales last month at major department stores Lotte, Hyundai, and Shinsegae had fallen by 5.4% on year, nearly wiping out the 6.6% gain they had clawed back in February on the back of the Lunar New Year holiday. Lotte Department Store says it will host another monster sale starting on this Friday, this time featuring apparel, but they're not the only ones cutting prices. This department store also offering 70% discounts on past season's merchandise.
Due to an unseasonably cold spring, sales of spring apparel this year were lackluster. That's why we're bringing out the discounts earlier than usual.
There's said to be some of the deepest discounts since the spring of 2000, reflecting a chilly retail picture and a desperate offline attempt to get shoppers to open their wallets. Eunice Kim, Business Daily.
In Seoul's popular shopping districts, practically every other store is a cosmetics brand. And each of those stores are booming in business, driven by the huge influx of Chinese tourists. Now, to tell us more about this rapidly developing Korean cosmetics market, Arirang's Kim Min-ji joining us this morning. Morning, Min-ji.
Morning, Ji-yoon.
All right, so what got these foreign tourists to be interested in Korean products in the first place?
Well, the boom was ignited by the Korean wave, or Hallyu. So foreigners, especially people in China, are becoming more exposed to Korean dramas and K-pop. So local celebrities have become household names. And so seeing these stars with beautiful, clear skin, viewers are becoming interested in Korean cosmetics.
You know, it always got me wondering how they have such perfect skins, and I always want to know what they use. But do you have some numbers to back this trend up?
Yes, I do. The domestic cosmetics market stands at nearly 11 billion US dollars as of last year, and is expected to grow 7% this year. And 6 million, that's the number of Chinese visitors that came to Korea last year, and 70% of them bought local cosmetics. And to see how popular they actually are, a recent survey on over 800 foreign tourists shows that 6 in 10 said they were satisfied with Korean cosmetics. The majority cited a wide variety of cosmetics available, followed by a rather subjective answer that their friends and family told them they were pretty, and another was the high quality compared to the relatively low prices, and in addition to how effective they were. Now, the same poll showed that a third of them surveyed spent between an average of $70 to $100 on cosmetics. But one tourist that I talked to spent a whopping $2,700 on cosmetics during a 5-day trip to Korea.
The quality of Korean cosmetics is great compared to the relatively low prices. There's also a wide variety of makeup available. I especially like lipsticks and primer products.
All right, then what are some popular products?
Well, facial masks and herbal cosmetics are the most popular. So foreigners say the quality of these facial masks are very superior compared to their cheap prices. And as for herbal cosmetics, consumers love them for their effects, whether it be whitening or wrinkling. And some of them can cost up to $700, but they're still willing to pay the high price. And the popularity is now spreading overseas, with exports of Korean products up by more than 50%, reaching almost $2 billion last year from a year ago.
Well, this boom must be putting some smiles on the faces of cosmetics companies.
Yep, you're right. They are the biggest beneficiaries. So if we look at the nation's two biggest companies, for example, Amore Pacific, which owns brands such as Harasu and Innisfree, has seen its shares more than double from a year ago, while LG Household and Healthcare, which owns brands such as Face Shop and Who, has also seen significant growth. And if we look at industry data from last year, a majority of their affiliates are also among the top of the low-end cosmetics brands.
All right, and I bet this is all pushing companies to expand their stores even more.
Yeah, so if you've been to Myeongdong, you've probably seen the huge lineup of cosmetics stores like every other store. But despite all this competition, they're all doing very well.
About 1,000 tourists visit our store each day, and Chinese tourists are our biggest customers, accounting for more than 75% of our sales.
And Seoul's other areas such as Hamcheongdong and Garosu-gil in Shinsa have also become new hotspots for cosmetic shoppers. The areas had previously been famous for their fancy cafes and small fashion boutiques, but many of those have been pushed out by cosmetics chains operating stores there.
All right, I guess the big question now we have is, will this trend last?
So experts believe so, especially with the China-Korea Free Trade Agreement that's expected to cut tariffs on cosmetics by almost 30%. But they do say that Korean companies will have to take new strategies in the long run.
Korean cosmetics are limited to the Asian market as the products are developed for Asian skin. They need to be able to expand their consumers by taking advantage of the Hallyu boom, such as in the Middle East, and work to establish their own unique position.
And the professor added that Korean beauty brands have yet to become recognized globally, whereas like brands from Italy or France are known as leaders in the cosmetics industry, but Korea has yet to become like a global country of origin.
All right, so there are still room for improvement, and we'll have to see if how Korean brands can expand to globally, I guess, from now on. All right, thanks for coming in today, Minji.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Business Daily. Hope we're able to walk you through the week with up-to-date business news coming out of Korea. We'll be back on Monday at the same time, same place. Thanks for watching.